It's 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. You're staring at a spreadsheet you didn't create, waiting on an approval from someone who'll glance at it for 4 seconds before hitting send. Your phone buzzes. It's nothing important. You check it anyway, because checking it is easier than sitting with the thought that's been circling for months now, maybe longer. The one you've never said out loud, because saying it out loud makes it real. What if this isn't it? Not this desk, not this Tuesday repeated for 40 more years with a different date printed at the top. Here's what almost nobody tells you about that thought. It doesn't show up in lazy people. Lazy people don't sit with discomfort long enough to even notice it's there. It shows up in people who are already running the numbers, quietly in the background, the exact same way you'd calculate a risk before taking one. You're not procrastinating, you're underwriting. And most people holding that thought do one of two things with it.
They bury it. They close the tab, go back to the spreadsheet, and promise themselves that when the timing is right and the savings are enough and the idea is perfect, they'll finally move. 5 more years of Tuesdays like this one is 1,825 identical days. Most people don't calculate that number. That's exactly why it works on them. Or they detonate everything at once. They hand in the notice, empty the savings account, tell their parents it's temporary, and believe it when they say it. And 6 months later, discover that the business they pictured from the comfort of a salary looks nothing like the business that exists once the salary and the safety net under every decision they make is gone. Both of those people made the exact same mistake. They assumed a job and a business were opposites, that one had to die before the other could breathe, that the salary and the dream were enemies sharing one body, and eventually, one of them had to lose.
They were wrong, and the 10 businesses in this video are the proof. These aren't side hustles, not passive income myths, not drop shipping, not anything that requires you to pretend you've cracked a code that doesn't exist. These are real businesses with real economics that are genuinely stronger, more fundable, more survivable, more profitable in year one, specifically because the person building them still clocks in somewhere else. Your salary isn't the obstacle. It might be the single most valuable business asset you currently own, and you've been trained to see it as the opposite. Here's why. Every business has a gap, the space between the first dollar spent and the first dollar earned. Businesses don't die in that gap because the idea was wrong. They die because the person running it ran out of the one thing that buys time inside that gap: cash. A job hands you cash every month, on schedule, regardless of whether the business made a cent that week. That's not a compromise.
That's a subsidy on your own risk that most people walk away from the second they decide to get serious. The businesses that survived their first year at the highest rate were not built by the people who went all in. They were built by the ones who built quietly, funded patiently, and only jumped once the business was already strong enough to catch them on the way down. Your job isn't holding you back. Your job is the thing keeping the business alive long enough to become real. Here are the 10. 1. Vending machines. The most job-compatible business that exists, and almost nobody reaches for it first because it doesn't sound impressive at a dinner party. It doesn't need to. A machine earns every hour of every day, whether you're at your desk or asleep. You place it, you stock it once a week, it does the rest. One well-placed machine nets $200 to $500 a month. 10 is $2,000 to $5,000.
20 is $4,000. Every dollar of it arriving while you're in a meeting that could have been an email. Entry cost, $15,000 to $20,000 for your first 5. The only variable that actually matters is location. Get that right, and this is the closest thing to a money printer a legal business offers. 2. Laundromat acquisition. You don't build this one. You buy it, already profitable, already full of customers who show up whether you're there or not.
A laundromat clearing $5,000 a month can be acquired for $80,000 to $150,000 through an SBA loan at roughly 10% down. Your job supplies the down payment and the income stability the bank actually wants to see. The laundromat supplies a 95% 5-year survival rate, the single most boring, most unimpressive, most reliably wealth-building asset that exists in every city on Earth. 3. ATM route. $2,000 to $3,000 per machine, placed in a bar, convenience store, or restaurant, earning $2 to $3 a transaction.
A well-placed unit runs 300 to 500 transactions a month, $600 to $1,500 per machine monthly for doing nothing after install day. 10 machines is $6,000 to $15,000 a month, working nights and weekends exactly like you already do. Machine 1 funds Machine 2. The route compounds while your paycheck stays flat and steady underneath it. 4. Storage facility. Again, you're buying, not building. A small facility, 50 to 100 units, running at 80% occupancy generates $8,000 to $15,000 a month, with an on-site manager handling the daily grind. Your job makes the acquisition loan possible. The facility itself is one of the most recession-proof assets studied. People downsize and need storage when the economy contracts, and accumulate and need storage when it expands. The demand curve only moves one direction. 5. Content with a specific angle. Not another motivation channel. The expertise your job already handed you, packaged for people who'd pay to learn what you already know for free.
A nurse explaining what actually happens in a hospital corridor. An accountant unpacking the tax rules nobody taught in school. The first 6 months feel like shouting into an empty room. That's the tax you pay for something almost nobody else on this list has. An asset that doesn't clock out, doesn't take a holiday, and keeps finding new viewers 18 months after you stopped thinking about it. 6. Commercial cleaning contracts. You don't clean anything. You hire 2 people, win 1 contract, and manage it around your existing schedule. A single mid-size office contract runs $3,000 to $8,000 a month, renewing automatically. The real danger zone in this business is the gap between paying your cleaners and getting paid by the client. That's exactly where new cleaning companies collapse, and it's exactly the gap your salary bridges without you noticing. 3 contracts beats most entry-level salaries. 5 makes the question of quitting answer itself. 7. Property management. You don't own a single property. You charge 8 to 12% of collected rent to manage them for landlords who are done taking 11 p.m. Sunday tenant calls.
20 properties at $2,000 rent each is $3,200 to $4,800 a month, run entirely from a phone. Entry cost is close to zero, software and a business registration. And exhausted landlords with 3+ properties exist in every city, waiting for exactly this. 8. Digital products. Built once, sold indefinitely. A course teaching the exact skill your job trained into you. A template automating a process your job forces you to do by hand. Cost of goods sold? Zero. Every sale past the first is close to pure margin. 10 sales a month at $97 is nearly $1,000 in profit from something you built on a few evenings 6 months ago that's still selling itself right now while you read this sentence. 9. Mobile car detailing. This isn't forever. This is the bridge. 2 or 3 Saturday jobs at $150 to $300 each is $500 to $900 for one day, while the vending machines, the laundromat, and the content channel compound quietly underneath it. The job funds your life. The detailing funds your reinvestment. Everything else on this list funds your exit.
10. Buying an existing small business. The one almost nobody considers, and statistically, the strongest bet on this entire list.
Businesses doing $100,000 to $500,000 a year change hands every single day, everywhere. Tired owners, ready to retire, wanting someone to take over something real. An SBA loan at 10% down, seller financing covering the rest, and the business is already cash flowing on day one because the customers, the systems, and the revenue existed before you ever showed up. The skill required isn't genius. It's the ability to spot real cash flow, negotiate fairly, and not break what's already working. That's learnable. The businesses are out there right now. The financing already exists. The only thing missing is the decision. None of these 10 ask you to quit anything. Not yet. The version of entrepreneurship that gets celebrated, the dramatic resignation, the burned bridge, the all-in leap, has a name: survivorship bias. You hear about it because the people who did it and won are the ones with the book deal and the keynote slot.
You don't hear from the ones who did it and lost because they're back at a desk somewhere, quietly rebuilding what they gave up when they bet everything on a business that needed 6 more months of runway their old salary would have covered for free. The businesses that survive aren't built by the bravest people in the room. They're built by the most patient ones, the ones who understood the salary was never the enemy of the dream. It was the foundation the dream was standing on the entire time. It's still 3:47 on a Tuesday, somewhere in your future. The only real question left is which version of you is sitting at that desk when it arrives.